Stop me if you've heard this before. Russell Wilson and the Broncos offense had a disappointing game, this time against Tennessee, where again, this offense is just sputtering. Doesn't help that Jerry Jeudy is now injured, so that obviously sucks. But let's talk about kind of what is going wrong with this Broncos offense. Is it Russell Wilson's fault? Is it coaching? Is it the receiving core? Is it all of the above? It's all of the above. Let's talk about why. So first, this play, it's man coverage across the board. It's actually a cover zero. That's what the Titans are showing, right? This means that it's an all-out blitz, except for you have one player covering each eligible receiver. There's obviously a disadvantage of running this play if you're a defense, which is all it takes is for one guy to slip in your secondary, and you're basically giving up a touchdown. The advantage, though, 6 guys rushing the passer, there's only 5 blockers, so someone's going to get pressure very quickly. Watch as someone gets through untouched. Russell Wilson has to make this throw right away. So that's where he is. Look down the field. Just look at a receiver. Where should he make this throw? Worth noting, it's a third down. They have to get to around the 49-yard line. And really, I don't think that one was intended for anybody. I think maybe he was hopeful. It was kind of a throwaway with maybe a chance a receiver could make the play. But really, Wilson just didn't trust anything there. And I think that that's a concern. I think that that is a real concern to have. The fact that in a cover zero situation, Russell Wilson is just throwing the football away. You don't love that. You want to see him give a receiver a chance, but the reality is I don't think, trusts his receiver, or maybe just completely missed the throw because of the pressure, but typically pressure makes you underthrow a ball, not overthrow it. I think this was a throwaway. And also, there were plays like this where, it's understandable to have some frustrations with this receiving core if you are a Denver Broncos fan. Courtland Sutton, solid player, but this is going to be a tough play from him, and he's your guy. He's the one guy you have, really, at this point, where it's a zone coverage play. You see him on the outside, and watch how when this play begins. Okay, listen, is this going to go for a ton of yards? No, it isn't. Should this get you at least a few yards, help you move the ball down the field? Yeah, that's the whole point of this play, and it is your best receiver at this point, getting the ball in his hands. But when Wilson makes this throw, he just is not able to make the grab right there. And again, maybe a bit of a low throw, but he had to get it over. So I understand that. That's a catch that you have to make. So again, things just aren't really working well. And, everyone's going to blame Wilson. I get it. I'm going to blame Wilson in a second as well. But it certainly isn't just a Wilson issue. And even stuff like this, where it's not even one guy's fault. It's just people aren't being on the same page, which maybe comes back to a coaching thing. It's a zone coverage play. You have Greg Dulcich, who's going to be running a route, trying to get into a gap in coverage against this zone coverage. Wilson takes the snap. He's going to look in that direction. And you kind of see that, okay, you see where the gap in coverage is, and you see where Dulcich is, and you also know what his route is. His route is to continue going towards the middle of the field. However, right here, if he continues doing that, he's actually running himself, out of being open. He should probably just turn around and stop and just stay in the gap in coverage. But again, this is a chemistry thing. You want to just be on the same page as the quarterback. Doesn't matter what you do, really. You just want to be on the same page as Wilson. However, Dulcich continues running up, whereas Wilson's throw is behind. That could have been intercepted. That's dangerous. Miscommunications are very dangerous. They can result in interceptions all the time. And so because of that, again, it's a chemistry thing, right? It's just these guys who, some of which just haven't played together for very long, aren't entirely on the same page, and that's part of what's going wrong for the Broncos. Going over here, listen, guys aren't getting open often, but this is going to be an example of the play working, right? You could argue the coaching hasn't been great. It'd be hard to argue against that argument, I think. So that's certainly a reasonable take, but there have been examples of the coaching working, of play calling working, and the offense still not getting it done. Like something like this, where you have a receiver running a clear route, the only eligible receiver lined up to the offense's left, but then you're going to have a halfback who's going to start off with running this play action, but eventually get towards the flat on that side of the field. So the idea is that everyone will pay attention to the only receiver there, and then with the play action, guys might turn their backs trying to get back into position, so no one's focused on the halfback anymore. It's a concept I like. Watch as Wilson takes the snap, runs this play action, and eventually looks out to a halfback that is getting open right here. But Wilson's throw is just a bit off, and it goes incomplete. Again, there was pressure on Wilson. Maybe that's the issue. But it's just stuff like this. It's these are the plays that they have to hit. There's some plays they don't have to hit, right? There's some plays that you say, okay, like that cover zero, you'd have liked to see them be able to make a big play, but you can win football games without being able to, win against those types of plays. That happens. But this is a play, if you're not hitting these, you're just not winning football games. It's that simple, really. And now it's at the point where these plays are what's become the Broncos offense, which is just it's a bad offense if this is what you're trying to do. So it's man coverage across the board. And like I said, again, I know people are going to say, even though I said Courtland Sutton's kind of the only guy, oh, what about these other guys? Like Greg Dulcich has been pretty good. Sure, he's been solid. He is a tight end, though. There's only so much he can do. And, there's been issues with this Broncos receiving core. Against man, they have really struggled. Pro Football Focus currently has their receiving core as the worst graded receiving core in football. It's below the Panthers and the Bears and the Giants in this situation. I mean, that's brutally bad. And so what you're going to see is, once again, nothing getting open here. And I'm actually going to wait till over 5 seconds into this play. Wilson does not get touched and is still in the pocket over 5 seconds into the play at this point. Part of that was him kind of doing a little bit of maneuvering, kind of faking out guys. So good stuff by him. Still nothing got open except for maybe this. And, part of me does wonder if Wilson throws this one further towards the bottom of the screen and kind of just throws a laser. Could that be complete? Still a risky throw, but that's probably the way to do it. But he's also about to get hit. Wilson completely just takes a chance here, throws it into double coverage, and that, was lucky to be incomplete. And this is becoming something Wilson is doing now, is just kind of throwing up jump balls and hoping for the best. That is not a good offense. And is this Wilson's fault? Listen, Wilson has not played as well as you would have hoped to see him play this season. That is absolutely true. I don't know what quarterback goes into this game and plays well. Part of that is simply just the fact that this is, he's playing against a good defense, right? Titans defense is very good. But still, I think it's fair to say that, this is just a really tough situation for Russell Wilson. And, the good thing is their defense has been very good. I don't want to say that excuses all of Russell Wilson's poor play. I think that Russell Wilson has also made mistakes on top of it. But do I believe that this is Russell Wilson's fault entirely? I really don't. I think that he's made some mistakes, but I want to see him in a better situation. Listen, going from throwing to the guys that they have in Seattle to this situation where, on paper it looks pretty good, but just has not worked out that way this season, it's been an issue. You do have to wonder how much of that is coaching. Certainly, you have to figure a part of it must be coaching, right? I mean, you do have a new coach this year, and I think people will always get on to coaching when the receiving core looks bad. That's kind of one of the things I say is, that I feel like if in baseball, if a team has a bad bullpen, every manager looks terrible. In hockey, if a team has a bad goalie, every coach looks terrible. And in football, if a team has a bad receiving core, then the offensive coordinator looks terrible. But still, I mean, the Broncos receiving core was kind of middle of the road last year. So they've been banged up this year, but still, part of it you have to wonder is how much of the poor receiving play is due to coaching itself. Probably part of it. But that's kind of what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.